Bible poems, Malachi. Legacy of a messenger to messengers. What greater privilege than to be called the messenger of the Lord? What's more, Malachi's book is mostly message. Never in Israel's history was a writer quite so demonstrably God's spokesman. Yahweh says. Yahweh Sabaoth says. Others should have been messengers also, notably the priests. God's own messenger will one day come to prepare the way for Yahweh, arriving suddenly at his temple. Watch for an Elijah seeking to turn round hearts while there is still time. In Judah, hearts aren't looking all that good. Yahweh is faced with surly questioners, half-hearted worshippers, unconscientious ministers, and reluctant givers. His opening gambit, I have loved you. Beautiful, heartwarming words, summing up centuries of revelation, proved true in all the ups and downs of Israel's history. Forgetting all of that, the dialogue partners are going to argue from the start. Just tell us how we know, expecting maybe one of those miracles they remembered hearing of in times gone by. I called your ancestor Jacob and declared my love. Things may seem hard for you, but look at what has happened to his brother's family line, to Edom. They're much worse off than you. They need to have a bit more patience to await the outworking of God's plans. Yahweh takes the priests to task for blemished offerings. Oh, were they blemished? We didn't really notice. You'd know how to show some honour to your Persian governor. What about showing it to the King of Kings? It would be better if someone simply locked the temple doors to prevent your impure offerings. Do you ever wonder why your prayers aren't being answered? To you, worship has just become a burden, a duty which you reluctantly perform, ignoring all my stipulations. But one day, grateful worshippers will bring their offerings from every corner of the earth. My name will be feared and honoured among all nations. Priests, beware. Don't make me take away my promise of blessing, my special covenant with Levi's tribe, and turn it into cursing. Reverence for me and diligence in handling holy things was what I asked for, and in return I promised life and peace. You are meant to be guardians of the truth, good teachers, and as we heard, faithful messengers. To make my people stumble and curry favour with the powerful are awful things. Now, from the earliest days, Yahweh's law required, alongside faithfulness to him, love for their brothers and sisters too, their fathers' other children. Both have been breached in the nation's marriages. Against the first, the men have married pagan women, the daughters of a foreign god. And against the second, they have divorced their Jewish wives for no lawful reason, a breach of love and the covenant of marriage itself, a denial of God's purposes to provide the next generation of children dedicated to God. Hatred, not love. God is becoming rather weary of the constant questioning of Malachi's compatriots, not least because they get themselves in deeper trouble each time their mouths are opened. Now they try and claim that God doesn't really care about who's good or evil. They just get treated all the same. In fact, they claim they can't see any signs of God enforcing his justice. Well, God's day of justice will come sooner than they think. There's no sin he hasn't seen. Sorcery, adultery, false testimony, oppression of the weak by withholding wages, and not caring for the widow, orphan, or the foreigner among them, and not paying him due honour. But before that, says Yahweh, I will send my messenger, preparing the way for me to come myself. Where all your blighted offerings are taking place will be my destination, the temple. My messenger will remind you of the covenant and all its claims upon you. Though you claim you want to see God acting, you won't find it very comfortable. The action will be like precious metal being refined in the furnace, or like laundry being pummeled and scrubbed hard. Only then will Judah bring right offerings, live out the covenant in righteous deeds. Once more, Yahweh declares something fundamental. He never changes. Only the constancy of his character and purpose has preserved his people. Now he makes another plea for them to return to him, then he will return to them. Still the people try to keep up their claims to innocence, shocked at the accusation that they are robbing God. Not what you took away, but what you never brought. My money in your pocket still, the missing tithes and offerings. Now you think you have a reason, your crops have been bad, and you think that I won't miss my share. Here's a challenge. Just test me and see if when you honour what my law requires, you don't find what it means to receive my blessing once again. Reversal of your farming setbacks. I've spoken of my purpose for the nations. Well, here's your opportunity to play your rightful part, to act as Abraham's true children and receive their blessing too. Yahweh speaks frankly about the hurt all this arguing back has caused him. Then an underlying problem is revealed. They really feel there's no point serving God. Their words reveal their hearts. They felt they should serve him only for the benefit it might bring, and it doesn't seem to bring one. They've clearly not been listening. Why should they bother? The arrogant are doing fine, and wrongdoers just seem to get away with it, so far as they can see. Before we hear Yahweh's response to that, Malachi introduces us to some whose response is different from the rest. Or maybe it's Yahweh overhearing their conversation, earnest talk of those who truly feared the Lord and longed for the honour of his name. Somewhere the chronicle is written up. They shall be mine, be included as among my special treasures, protected on the day of judgment, treated like a son. So here's the answer to those who said that God treats the righteous and the wrongdoers, faithful and unfaithful servants, just the same. They're simply wrong. Yahweh says, my day is coming, judgment on the arrogant and all who do evil. They will be like dry stubble set ablaze, or forest in a wildfire, every root and branch consumed. A very different outcome for those who fear my name. The gently rising sun of righteousness with healing power. They will come like released cattle, bounding joyfully, their hooves helping with God's work of trampling evil. Two final words, one for now, the other for the future. God's covenant is the same. Clear guidance in the laws God gave the nation long ago. Remind yourselves of them and learn the old lesson that obedience is the only way. And for the future, God promises a messenger before the final day arrives. Another visit from Elijah, the prophet. His mission, changing hearts. We heard of husbands being told to be faithful to the wives they married in their younger days. Elijah will seek to turn the hearts of fathers to their children, children to their parents. Listen then and listen now. It matters more than we can say. When Israel entered Canaan, their adversaries were under God's final judgment. Let God's land not have to face that once again.